Joy, our guest today is Bryan Clair, who is an associate professor at St. Louis University. So that's your first question.
Well,
why the hell do we have an associate professor from SLU here?
I'm not even gonna ask about that because he's so fascinating, and I just heard little snippets of all these things he's doing.
Anina dragged me to a thing called Dash on SLU campus last spring.
Right.
And it was we had a team of four: Anina and her boyfriend Danny, and Amy Wall, who used to work here at OnStL, and me. And it was solving puzzles, math puzzles.
Right.
And this geek here is the man who put this whole thing together, one of the organizers.
Did you actually come up with the puzzles for that?
Dash is national.
Okay.
So Dash stands for different area, same hunt.
So it just goes to your city.
It was done around, I think, 16, 17 cities that same day simultaneously. And the puzzles are created by some of the best puzzle writers nationwide.
Nice.
So, a colleague of mine at SLU, Michael Goldwasser, and I wrote one of the puzzles.
You are a puzzle writer.
I am. I'm getting better at it. So we wrote one of the Dash puzzles, and then the others were written by people all over the nation.
You may be, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you may be one of the few math teachers at a university also teaching art. I mean, it is MC Escher. It is MC Escher.
That's right.
And with reason, considering his work. But are there others who do that?
Yeah, there's quite a few people. It's I don't know that anybody else is doing a whole course like we are based on the art of Escher. So he's the theme that runs through the course because there's plenty of math in his work to riff on, basically.
Yes, and isn't that unusual that he's an artist and a mathematician?
That's much less unusual than you think. Almost every semester I teach this class, one of the local art museums will have an exhibition where I say, hey, there's a ton of math here. Let's go and do it. The Pulitzer just closed an exhibition.
I'm so surprised.
That was all math.
I thought that the artists and the mathematicians were like two different animals.
Yeah. And just when you thought math could get boring, you do.
Wait a minute, just
you actually research. You do research in math. Now that's got to be really boring.
That's what I do.
What is random tiling? You do research in random tiling.
That's what I'm working on now. If you take a bunch of dominoes, right, and you lay them out on, say, a chessboard, so that each domino covers 2 squares, then you can cover the chessboard with that.
Okay. Right?
And you could lay them all out horizontally, and you'd have a nice pattern. You could lay them all out vertically. You'd have a different pattern. You could try and do like brickwork or something with them. All right, you get a different pattern. So if you lay them out completely randomly, what does that look like?
A big mess.
It looks like a big mess.
Right.
Exactly.
I know this. You know why I know this? Because I just tried to do this with tile in my bathroom floor, which I'm going to ask you about after the interview. But go ahead.
So it looks like a big mess
Yes.
if you do it, say, on a chessboard. But there's certain shapes. For example, if you make it diamond shaped on your grid, where there's sort of staggered edges and corners, when you lay it out, suddenly there's a circle that will show up. If you actually pick one randomly correctly, a circle will show up where you get nice brickwork patterns at the corners and a mess in the middle.
Oh, I see.
And so there's been a huge amount of research in the last decade, 15 years, as to trying to figure out why does this order suddenly appear out of chaos.
Yes.
And that's really
That's
fascinating
amazing.
stuff.
And Bryan, I kid you when I call you a geek. I'm sure you know.
It's coming from him. Yes.
Because I am truly fascinated by what you do and all of this. What is the value in studying random tiling?
Well, the random tiling problem actually has motivations from physics. In fact, if you put the right kind of picture on it, then suddenly you're not just doing random tiling, you're modeling a surface. So the boundary between oil and water, right? If you put them both in a jar, you'll see this floppy, wavy boundary. And these random tilings actually model that. So it was actually driven by the physicists in the first place. Was let's make this model, let's try and solve it, and then from there it's been physics and mathematicians collaborating over a couple of decades, really, since the original problems came out.
Are you a chemist, a physicist? What are you?
I'm a mathematician, pure math.
Okay.
When it gets to the physics end of things, I sort of say, oh yeah, that kind of does look like a surface.
Let's look
I'm not actually proven in any of the physics.
Here's what the man teaches. Your life has got to be fun. Operating systems, probability and statistics for engineers, elementary statistics with computers, math and art of MC Escher, advanced math for engineers, and calculus 2. How many of these courses would you take, Joy?
Maybe the MC Escher
You'd want
one.
to take the art one. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But that would get you into math, just like Dash.
It would get
got
you
so
into
many
math.
people into it. Now he has a thing called Puzzled Pint.
Puzzled Pint.
Which is another national movement.
It is. It's another national puzzle. I don't know, get together.
This is where you get together with friends, eat and drink solve math puzzles.
Right. So this is something we're doing every month. It's always the second Tuesday of the month, and we're moving it around from bar to bar. So it's a different bar every time.
Oh, throw the drinking aspect in there. That's a new
ripple
on the water.
So this is very relaxed. Dash is something you have to sign up for. There's a small fee. I think it was $40 a team, so not a huge fee. But Dash costs money. Dash we actually rented or at least agreed with people that we could use their sites. The Puzzled Pint is, I go to the bar, I say, hey, can I bring 40 people to your bar on a Tuesday night? And they're like, yes, we'd love to have you.
That line between the water and the oil is like, it's everywhere.
I think math fanatics drink like anybody drinks.
That's true, yeah.
That changes the game a little.
You maybe get worse as the night goes on. Some people get better. I tend to degrade if I start
it's the ones who get better that scare me.
Yeah, there are some who.
Now you met Nir Chesroni.
Nir is a great
guy here
guy.
in St. Louis is doing the escape room.
That's right.
That seems to be a huge, very popular thing around the country now.
It's booming like crazy, and in St. Louis it's booming too. I think Nir had his open a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But just in the last, I think 5 or 6 months, there's now 5 of them in the city.
How do you explain this sudden interest in all of this, which is great?
I mean, it's almost theater, right? It's like theater.
And it's something to do.
And it's interactive theater, and you do it with your friends. And there's a real adrenaline rush when you're locked in this room and the timer's running, and maybe there's a zombie in there with you trying to scare you. So I've only done one because the others are fairly recent. I'm lining teams up to try and do the others.
Oh, good. That's great. Now, in Puzzled Pint, is there also that adrenaline rush? Are there competitions?
It's much less competitive. You can hang out with your friends. If you bring somebody who's not interested in solving puzzles, they're still going to have a good time.
Well, that's what's cool about it. You can bring people in, and as long as you have one mathematician in your group, you're fine.
Well, you don't even need that. I mean,
really, we didn't. Right? We didn't
really.
They're
not math puzzles generally.
I think
they're clever.
That's going. The part that's most difficult for me, unless people have been doing these and they understand. Biggest problem is to try to figure out what is the question. Sometimes it
is.
Yeah, you don't even know what you're supposed to be solving.
But that's the charm of a puzzle.
Could just be a picture on a piece of paper, and there's no instructions, no nothing, and you have to say, well, what's
but
going on?
But having done this a lot, you get that, right? So
you get better.
And that's what Dash was about. You spent the first half of your time just trying to figure out what are we here for? What are these elements we have in front of us?
Exactly.
When is the next Puzzled Pint? And
next Puzzled Pint is it's Tuesday, October. I think it's the 13th, if that's a Tuesday.
Okay,
I think it's Tuesday, October 13th. Where I can't tell you.
That's part of the deal.
The way Puzzled Pint
works.
works.
You have to figure out where it is.
A few days before, we'll post online a puzzle.
Where online? Where can we look for it?
It's www.puzzledpint.com.
And you look for the St. Louis one. There are several of them there.
Well, it's there's one website. It'll have one puzzle that you solve. When you solve it, then you say, I'm in St. Louis. It'll tell you where to go. Right. So the puzzles are the same nationwide. Actually, it's international. We have London, I think, and Vienna is doing it now.
Wow, that's great.
And this whole trend, like he was talking about, these escape rooms and things that are happening. Where did this start? Did it start over in Europe somewhere? Or?
The escape rooms, I think they've started in Scandinavia and Japan.
Really?
Are the two sort of hotbeds of escape room. And then they've taken over the nation.
Scandinavia, you don't really hear that as a source of things usually.
I say that vaguely. It's probably like specifically like Oslo or something. But I don't actually know except that it's somewhere.
Brian, thanks for bringing all of this to St. Louis and what you do.
It's been really fun. I mean, we ran my colleague and I actually did Dash the first couple times it was here, and then the person who was running it couldn't do it the next year, and we were all sad that we couldn't do it. So then when that happens, you have to take it over yourself, and it's been actually a lot of fun running it.
Glad you did. Thanks for joining us today.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
And thanks to Clayton Bakery and Deli in Des Peres, offering fresh-made baked goods using recipes from St. Louis's earliest history and fresh baked bread right from the bakery. 11,744 Manchester Road in Des Peres.